Welcome back to another episode of Born to Chat Shit with your host George and the stunning Victoria. We are sorry, first of all, it's been 2 weeks since we last recorded one. Long story short, we've been doing a shitload of travelling, we've had clients competing. It's been a bit of a fucking mess, to be honest with you. So right now we're in a different scenery. We're at my parents' house if you are watching this, and we're rolling out another podcast. So thanks for everyone's patience, and as always, please share it on your stories, Instagram, same thing. Well, does anyone use Snapchat? Share on your Snapchat story. Who the fuck uses Snapchat?
Don't tag us because we don't have Snapchat.
Do you Snapchat? When do you stop using Snapchat?
Probably like first year of uni.
Yeah, it was a uni thing for me. Like I finished, if you're above like the age of like 20, 21, if you're like a full grown man, like let's say you're 27, and you're using Snapchat still, that's a fucking ick, innit? Like,
apparently it's meant to be good right now.
Interesting. Yeah, let us know if you still use Snapchat. What's the acceptable age to use that in the comments down below? That's today's thing. Anyway, let's dive into some updates. It's been 2 weeks. So Vicky.
No, you start because you're the interesting one.
I'm boring.
No, you're not. You're the one on prep.
Yeah, so...
How many days out now?
Currently, I am 11 days out from my show. So
Mad.
I'm doing the PCA Hull. And I registered for the classic short division, which is very different. I just thought, fuck it. Let's do
Everyone's surprised that you're doing that, actually.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even know why, but we're just going to roll with it and see how we get on with that.
I was actually speaking to Christian, coached by Christian, because that's what he's known as, over the weekend, and he was like, oh yeah, what category is George competing in? And I was just like, classic, and his jaw literally dropped. He was like, I was not expecting that.
Men's wellness.
Men's wellness.
So yeah, I'm 11 days out and I'm in the trenches, so my voice may not be as energetic today as what it usually would be. Not that it's ever energetic, to be honest with you.
I was gonna say,
thanks Vix. I am struggling a little bit. However, the show goes on. This is a choice, and that's what I need to remember. I'm coming in pretty lean right now, I would say. Would you say I'm pretty lean? Yeah,
you've come in very quickly over the last, I would say, like 2 days or so.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
And the glutes are coming in, which is how I know George is getting leaner. Most importantly, well, not most importantly, but most significantly, I know he's getting leaner because he's become so snappy.
Really? Yeah, yes. I have actually, yeah.
You have. Over the last week, you've just, not that you've become snappy, but your tolerance is definitely lower.
Yeah. I know when I start getting pissed off with the dog. Like the dog's breathing starts pissing me off, or Diesel just like being annoying. Like me and Diesel in a prep, we just fall out. That's the best way to put it. Like I just fall out with him in a prep. Like I did it in 2022.
Don't even like him.
I get to a point where I just don't like him. Just agitates me to fuck.
But then you have a little bit of food and you literally give up your right and left kidney for him.
I know, it's so fucking tapped. So yeah, his breathing basically has been annoying me over the last couple of days. So yeah, it's been a bit like that. And I think the main thing for me is just trying to be aware of it. Like, okay, you're being a dickhead here, George, just chill out a little bit. Like I notice I start complaining about quite a lot of things, like unnecessary things, and well, basically everything. And yeah, I just start becoming a bit of a dickhead. So I think with the years that I've been doing this, you start to sort of acknowledge like how you sort of react to certain things.
And you've become so much better at just like communicating, also apologising. Like the other day, George literally said to me in the morning, he was like, just to let you know, I'm low on sleep and I'm tired. I may be snappy today. Please don't take it personal. And then proceeds to be snappy. And I definitely took it personally. But at the same time, he did. But then you apologise very, very quickly. Usually it takes you like a day, or like 2 days. Like in last prep, it took him ages, or he just wouldn't apologize at all, or just pretend like nothing's happened. But this time around, you're like, no, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's basically how I know George is getting leaner. I'm like, okay, he's close to show now. But it's so nice for me because I'm like, I know the show is literally 11 days away. Whereas in 2022, you were like this at like 6 weeks out, and I thought,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, it's just recently started happening, hasn't it? Whereas before I would get to this sort of point like way before, and I would allow that to affect so many parts of my life. But I can put up with this for the next 11 days or whatever.
Same.
Until I step on stage. So yeah, all in all, everything's going well. My training's still been very, very good, to be honest with you. It's been a little bit hit and miss there. Energy starts to dip off a little bit halfway through. Food's been pretty good, obviously digging in that aspect at the moment, and we're not doing any cardio. So I can't remember last time if I said in the previous podcast if I was doing any cardio or not, but that's been completely removed. And instead I'm just doing 15,000 steps right now, which
15 to 20.
Yeah, well, it's around 15, I would say.
But we did hit 20 a couple of times.
Yeah, and that's the slog for me at the moment. Like, it kind of, the best analogy that I can use, and people who have done high amounts of steps or prep can relate to this, it just feels like I'm dragging 20 kilo plates around my ankles, and I feel like I can't like walk properly, because yesterday I stacked it about 4 times whilst walking. Like, I just tripped up because I'm not lifting up my feet properly. So I know my legs are tired, I know I'm just dragging myself around. However, it's working, and steps are, in my opinion, I think one of the most underrated tools to actually create a large deficit, in my opinion. I think steps are so underrated. So if you're fucking lazy, go out and do your steps. But if you're watching this and doing your steps, or listening to this, I should say, because you're probably not going to watch it on a walk, well done, you're doing a good job. Keep walking. Yeah, walk on.
I was like, is he going to get aggressive?
Oh, where is he going to go? Is he going to start effing and blinding? No, I'm going to try and not swear in this one, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, you know, I think I'm going to display a better, you know, good package for what I want to bring this year. You know I'm not going to be the biggest, but I'm 8 kilos heavier than what I was in 2022 at the moment. And all right, okay, it may not be as lean in certain areas, but you know what? Look, I took my visuals this morning, and I'm not far off that, to be honest with you. I don't think. No. I really don't think I am. I think there might be a little bit more off the quads, a little bit off the glutes and the hamstrings, but I would say there's definitely not 8 kilos to come off. So
no, I reckon 2.
I reckon, yeah, 1 or 2 kilos at least. That puts me about 6 kilos above my stage weight in 2022, which is mental, really, considering the exposure I've had to assistance and, you know, how long I've been doing that for. It's pretty mad. So I'm happy. That's the main thing.
And how minimal assistance you've used as well.
Yeah, minimal. I think that's important to remember that. You know, I haven't used crazy amounts, and I don't intend to use crazy amounts. You know, I'm happy with the progress that I am making. I've not escalated it throughout this prep at all. If anything, I'm using less assistance because I don't use growth hormone anymore, anything like that. So, yeah, you know what? It's going really well, and I can't complain. So, yeah, tired though.
Okay, so my question for you, obviously, you're going into the show, and you just said, I know I'm not going to be the biggest, and I'm kind of going in to test the waters. How do you deal with that mentally? Because I think that's something really important to speak about. Obviously, with 2019, you put a lot of pressure on yourself because people were following you. It was your first time on stage, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to win, with a lot of expectations on yourself. And then following your 2019 prep in 2022, it was like, I need to come back better, and I'm still going for that I'm going for that first placing now because I didn't place how I wanted to. So obviously your 2 previous preps were very much focused on getting a placing and kind of marking your stance in bodybuilding, whereas now it's a little bit different. So I guess my question is, like, how are you dealing with that mentally? Because I know there's going to be a lot of people out there in a similar position. I think whether you're a first timer or whether you're transitioning from natural to enhanced, or even, for example, if you've turned pro and now you're in the pro league, it's something that I think is quite a common theme.
I think for me, Mango, shut up. I don't know. I'll keep that in the podcast. It might though. She's playing with a bowl outside. Like, the bowl's flipped because it's so windy. She's just like playing with it. Child, honestly, dogs are children sometimes. So yeah, it's a good question actually, because I've always wanted to sort of go into like a prep, and obviously I do have that winner's mentality. You know, I do want to win, like, deep down. But obviously, me being a very small fish in a big pond now, I just do it. I just learned, like, I'm doing it for myself. Like, regardless of the placings, regardless of the trophies, regardless of whatever place you come, like, I actually just love the lifestyle. I love bodybuilding. I love competing. I love chasing like physique improvements, regardless of whether I competed or not. And for me, it's just that it's that hippie fucking you versus you mentality, you know. But it's so true. It works for me really well. And although I've got that winner's mentality, and I've always done really well in anything that I've done, sports, football, bodybuilding, I've always won something. You know, I'll go in and just go, you know what, like I'm at a point right now where I just want to enjoy myself, and preps are so much easier, or this prep has been so much easier because I've taken that pressure away from me, and I've just gone, just enjoy it, just enjoy the suffering, enjoy the digging, enjoy what you enjoy doing, because I always have flashbacks to when I'm in like peak bulk, and when I'm struggling to walk up a hill, my lower back's pumped, and I'd walk around and think, I'd love to be fit and not have a fucking lower back pump. Or when I'm struggling to get my food down and my appetite's low, I think about, you know, I'd love to have that feeling of, you know, being shredded and being hungry, you know. So whilst I'm here, I just want to like appreciate that. And obviously right now I'm appreciating fucking being heavier and eating more food and, you know, having a bit of a belly on me. But
I don't.
Oh, yeah, I don't actually saying that.
No,
But
I don't.
Just more food.
I prefer dieting to an off season. If I had to pick, I'd choose a prep over an off season any time. Because the thing is, I don't actually feel like my training is that much worse. I still feel like I'm pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's regressed a little bit, but like pound for pound, I think I'm stronger now than I was in my off season.
I agree. Yeah,
So-
I agree. I actually prefer dieting to bulking. I think for me, like I struggle to push, like get fat, if you know what I mean. Like it takes me a lot of effort to gain body weight. So my body's naturally lean. So when it comes to dieting, like I can just lose weight with my eyes closed, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I prefer that. My body prefers it. But yeah, I just go in with that mentality of just like, I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing myself proud. I'm happy with the progress that I've made since 2022. And that's what I care about.
Okay. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I was going to say it'll be interesting to have this conversation after George's show, because I remember you at the BNBF show in 2022, and George came out and there were huge guys on that stage, and I saw them and I was like, right, okay. And then George comes out like one of the last ones in the initial lineup, and I just saw his face and I thought, fuck's sake, he's gonna hate this.
Honestly,
and you just didn't like it because you are such a competitive person. I think this is the issue as well. Like when you are competitive, which is probably the majority of people in bodybuilding, you are going to get up on that stage and sometimes think like, oh fuck's sake, like I'm not, you know, I'm not where I want to be right now, and the whole comparison thing kicks in. But I think what George said there is really, really important. It is kind of like a you versus you.
Yeah.
And that's not regarding placing as well, because sometimes, well, George can sit there and be like, oh, it's me versus me. And in 2022, I had first place, and now I'm whatever place. By the way, I'm not predicting you're not going to do well, but I'm just saying hypothetically.
Give us a prediction then. You're going down that route.
I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm not seeing PCA in person. No. Like, I'm not seeing, like, for example, if you were at the Europa show, then you would be coming.
Go on,
you would be
it.
coming last.
Dead last. Yeah, I want to be dead last.
You would, but not dead last, but you would be taking like the bottom placing. I'm so sorry.
Vicky's mugging it.
No, I'm not mugging it. I just genuinely cannot lie.
Yeah,
I cannot lie, and I don't want to lie to you as well, because I don't want. I hate personally false reassurance. If someone's like going to say to me like, yeah, you're going to get first place, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. Like, I just don't like that, so I can't do that. So I'm sorry. On the Europa show, go on.
On the topic of that, in 2019, that's where I used to really struggle, because I had a lot of my subscribers commenting on my physique updates. Oh, you're going to win first place. And no offense to these people, obviously I appreciated the comment, but these people were very uneducated in bodybuilding and actually didn't really know. It's like your mum saying, you're the best looking man on this planet. Like, you know, of course she's going to say that. She's your fucking, you know, she's your mum. But these people that were giving me this sort of like, it was like, fucking hell, this added pressure. But when I luckily enough, I spoke to AJ about it, and he sort of like taught me about, you know, you have to take these comments as a pinch of salt, because people are going to, you know, be very biased towards you because they like your content or like you. And as well as that, they may be not the most educated in bodybuilding to look for. Because I remember I did a show in 2019 and people were like, how the fuck did you not beat this guy? They started shitting on this guy in the comments. And I was just thinking like, he was way fucking better than me.
Yeah.
You know, he beat me because he was way better. Like, I'll be honest there. AJ was honest with me. He's better than you. He beats you in more shots. But these people like, how the fuck is he not fucking beat? How the fuck is he beating you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't give him shit for it, you know? Like, chill out.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, I'm always brutally honest. I'm not actually brutally. I always try and say it in a nice way. But yeah, like, I think at the Europa show, like a 2-bro standard, you're not quite there yet. Like, the key word there is yet. But I don't know about PCA, because PCA is a federation where, of course, they want size. Like, that's what bodybuilding is about. But it is a little bit different. I would say it is about shape. It's about presentation. Obviously, 2-bros is about presentation as well, but I think it favours more shape. Like, even when I look at the figure girls aren't huge. Like, they've got 3 different divisions. They've got trained, they've got toned, and they've got athletic, you know, and they're all completely different looks in comparison to 2-bro. So yeah, you can look at classic and think, oh, I'm not, you know, I'm not big enough, but actually you might have the best shape, and that's what they favor, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to actually say like where you're going to place it. It'll be interesting to see you at that show and just see you do your thing, but you do need to fucking sort this posing routine, because it's stressing me out.
I reckon I'm 11 days out. I haven't created a posing routine.
He hasn't done a single classic pose. Yeah,
I've done one.
What, this morning? Because I've told you to.
Yeah,
anyway,
like that at the moment. But either way, it's going to be done. So yeah, I've waffled on like 16 minutes about myself. Brilliant. Vicky.
No, why don't you say like where your food's at, steps?
Oh.
No, you said steps, but like
Steps.
Everything.
Food is what, 2,000 at the moment calories,
Yeah.
something like around there. So yeah, that's probably
2.1.
2.1. That's probably the lowest that I've probably ever been on a diet.
About 1.9 on a rest day.
1.9 on a rest day. Training still the exact same. To be honest with you, I'm more like freestyling my training at the moment, because it gets to the points where it doesn't, in my opinion, like, it becomes like a ticking box exercise. That's the best way to put it. It's not like you look forward to going to the gym. It's like, oh, fucking, I've got to go to the gym. And, you know, I think for me, I take a step back and go, well, I do get to go to the gym. I have the privilege of going to the gym, which is really important, because there are some people that, 1, don't have the lifestyle that I lead, can go to gym whenever he wants, and 2, can't afford a fucking membership to go to the gym, let alone to the gyms that we go to.
Or have the health.
Or have the health, yeah, or have the health. You know, I saw a guy in there the other day on crutches. He had, I can't remember what it's called now, but I remember a girl at school had it. He had, I don't want to be rude, but he had like
a stabilizer.
Like a stabilizer. I was going to say cage around his leg.
I think it's called a cage.
Oh, was it a cage? Okay, cool. Okay, that doesn't offend anyone then. So yeah, he had like a cage around his fucking, and I could see he was in pain trying to bend over and grab an attachment. Obviously, I didn't go over and help because I didn't want to. I wish I sort of did, because I was thinking, am I going to be?
It's a hard one though, because you don't want to go over and be patronising, because they can probably do them themselves, but at the same time they might need the help.
I know. And I
always find that.
I didn't want to go over and think he probably thinks I'm watching him, you know?
Yeah. Do you know, I'm digressing, but I remember when I used to walk back from school, there used to be this guy in a wheelchair, and there used to be a huge hill that you had to walk up, and he lived like down the road from my house, and I used to see him like go up this hill in a wheelchair, and it wasn't an electric one, it was one of those like push ones.
Oh god.
And I was just always like in my head having a huge anxiety. I don't know why I overthink things so much, but I was like, do I walk over and do I ask him to push him up, or do I just walk past? Like, am I going to be patronising if I ask to push him up, and you know, is he going to think I don't think he's capable of doing that?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a nice thing to do? And then eventually one day, I remember this was like, and what I used to do is I used to walk like really slowly behind him, so he wouldn't see that I'm walking past him up this hill. So I would get home like 25 minutes late if he was there with me. And then there was this one day where I just bit the bullet, and I was just like, do you want me to push you up? And he was like, yeah, that would be amazing, thank you.
I thought he was going to say no.
Regret of my life. Fuck me. He was like a bigger guy as well, and I was up this hill sweating, and then every single time I saw him I had to push him up. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to, but it was definitely a workout. I'm sorry, I don't know why.
What's your motto? Don't help those with disabilities? Don't help people with disabilities.
No.
They all fucking bite in the arse. And no, to be honest, yeah, and I'm going off on one right now. Like, some of those people are some of the rudest people I've ever met.
No, right. We're not generalising. Let's no.
Okay.
No, I'm going to tell you off. I'm going to argue. Right, back to your point in the gym. People don't have the health too.
Oh, yeah,
so you're grateful. There we go.
Oh my god, this fucking podcast. What is happening? Oh my god, we're going to flop this. Yeah, people don't have the privilege to go to. to the gym. So yeah, I mean, I sort of thought about that when I was, oh my god, I started thinking about that whilst I was at the gym. How did we get into that? What the fuck?
This is literally 2 prep heads.
Yeah, it is.
This is 2 prep heads. That is going to be the name of the podcast. 2 prep heads.
Honestly, I stood over there outside before we did this podcast, and I was like, what am I doing here? I literally looked, I was like looking around, I was like, what am I doing here? Am I grabbing something? I was like, I'm just standing here, like I just stood outside for no reason.
I saw you just stood there.
I just stood there.
And it was like, you just look so lost.
Yeah, honestly guys, I was sitting there just scratching my balls and I was like, what am I doing here? Like I didn't realise, like, you know when you ever drove in your car, the best way to put it is you're driving in your car and you don't know how you got there. You know when you've just like been driving, you've just been in your own head, you've been just daydreaming, and like, how the fuck have I not crashed and I've ended up in the location that I've got to?
Yeah.
It's one of those sort of moments. So yeah.
Sorry about this
like
podcast.
Sorry, this is probably
hopefully you'll giggle with us or giggle at us.
Yeah, probably at us more than with us, to be honest. So yeah, I have the privilege to go to the gym, and I think I'm just going to leave it there because I think we'll just move on to how Vicky is at the moment.
No, don't leave me when I've got my laughing fit. How am I?
Yeah, go on. You've had a busy couple of weeks.
I have had a busy couple of weeks, of course. Did we record after Anya competed?
No, we didn't.
No. So, my client, Anya, wellness, natural, incredible, 23, first timer, stepped up on stage and absolutely wiped the show. She won her class, won the overall in the novice show, got asked to do the open show as well in the wellness division, won that as well, and I would say it was a very close call.
I had a winning, but
I had a winning as well. But you know, I don't actually think that's even like a biased opinion. No. I genuinely had a winning, and I know a lot of people did too. There was a podcast actually that came out, and they said there as well that, you know, she was definitely one of the people that stood out in that show. Her presence, her elegance, her posing, her physique, how we peaked her, everything was just perfect on that day.
Who won it again? The
bodybuilding.
Women's bodybuilding.
Women's bodybuilding.
And I think based upon that, that's what I was going to say. The reason why I think the women's bodybuilder won it is because female bodybuilding is dying
and natural
out.
As well. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's dying out. So they wanted to kind of, you know, get it going again. And
don't not to take away from her physique, because she was absolutely
she was good,
incredible.
But I don't think she's better than Anya. I'm just being biased, of course. I don't give a fuck.
Right, okay. Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically just won everything, and then got a qualification to compete in Denmark, actually. So we are going to Denmark in October. She's competing on the 19th of October, and I am just so proud of her. She's got a show coming up this Saturday. This is going to be in the Two Bros Federation, and she's actually going to be doing bikini, just because she is definitely big enough for wellness in the natural federations, but I just don't think she's quite there yet in the untested ones. Though, to be honest with you, I think give her a couple of years of growing, she will definitely be competitive even in untested federations as a natural. She is a genetic freak, and not only that, because I think a lot of people can be genetically gifted and just not put the graft in and not have the results, whereas she's got the genetics and she's also got the work ethic. She's so humble. She's such an incredible human as well. Like, I get emotional when I speak about her. I really do, because she's one of those people that I look at and I'm just like, you deserve the world. So I'm really glad that that's how her first show went. So we were both on such a high after that show. It was a long day for us, because we went there around 11:15.
Yeah,
and we left
11:15, and we didn't leave till 11.
We didn't leave until 11
p.m. So it was there for
a little bit after 10.
A little bit after 10.
Yeah, so it was a long
hours.
show. Yeah, long show, but it was so worth it. And then got her back into sort of like digging.
Yep.
Because she does need to come a little bit leaner, which she can do. She's really good at pulling off body fat. She definitely has done that already. Slight different approach to this peak week. I fat loaded her rather than doing a progressive linear load, just because she was actually due on her cycle this week. So I didn't want her to retain too much fluid. So just had a little bit of a different approach, as she's responding very nicely now. And to be honest with you, didn't really, again, this is important to actually understand the criteria and what they're looking for. And also understanding your shape and how you respond to food, because if I filled her up with too many carbs, she would be too big for bikini this weekend. She would just genuinely stand out for just being big in the lineup. We're already having to adjust her posing a little bit with her posing coach Scarlett, just because she sits in a little bit into that hip. which makes her hamstrings pop much more than what we want them to for the bikini division. So that is on Saturday. Really excited for that, because the goal next year is to actually compete for the IFBB Pro card, which I undoubtedly think that she could be very, very strong at. So that's going to be very exciting. And then when it comes to me, I actually don't know. Oh, my body responded a little bit drastically, to be honest with you, where it didn't drop for so long. The week of Anya's show, I dropped like 3 kilos.
Yeah, you did.
I went from 66 to 63 out of literally nowhere. And I was like, right, okay, this is interesting. And I'll be brutally honest in terms of what I did. I didn't change the calories that I was eating. All that I did was I took 1 meal out. So instead of having 5 meals, I had 4 meals. And my evening meal is a much bigger meal. And it is definitely not bodybuilder-like, because I remember I did this actually after Anya's show, because we ended up having only 3 meals. And I was so down on my foods that I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to increase. And I couldn't eat because I was so stressed, so I couldn't eat much volume. And then I was like, I'm just going to add food into my oat bowl, which I usually have in the evening. And I added minstrels, and I added a Biscoff, like, what was it, a Biscoff sandwich?
Yeah.
That's like 50 calories. Because I was like, do you know what? I fancy, I'm going to have it if it fits your macros. And that's when I just started dropping. I was like, what the hell? Like, here I am having beef mince, rice, beetroot, kimchi, like all of this. And then I had that and I was like, I've dropped.
Yeah.
Sound. So, yeah, basically what didn't follow the traditional bodybuilder route, where I was like, so like literally chicken and rice or rice cake, you know, and I was going to say a fish cake. Fish and rice cake. And my body's just started responding nicely. And I think a lot of that is down to the fact that stress has dropped off as well. But because of that, because of the random drop that I did have, my cycle has now stopped, and I've not had a cycle in the last, well, I'm 7 days late, which is just not ideal. So I think I've missed it, which I know my body is likely to do anyway. I do suffer from irregular cycles as it is. It was only the last couple of months that they regulated. That is a typical PCOS sign. So I just need to make sure that I prioritize the health now. And I think I do want to be a little bit leaner. I really, really do. In my head, I'm like, I'm not quite where I want to be, but health will come first for me. And I think I'm going to hold things here. I'm not going to push the diet anymore, even though my body weight has stopped a little bit, which I thought was because obviously, 1, I've had a big drop, but 2, also I thought I was meant to start my cycle, which is naturally where I gain around 1 kilo anyway. But I'm going to hold off, obviously support George for the next week and a half, 11 days, because that's just cute. What we do. Yeah. I'm not going to be rubbing, you know, extra food in his face when he is digging. I just don't think is fair. It's just not me anyway. And then after that, I'm going to reverse out and start my improvement season, my last stint of an improvement season before prep next year, which is actually fucking scary. Like I've stressed myself out today because PCA has posted the first timer calendar, and I was like, I might just jump into a first timer show. Why not?
I just said to you, yeah, I think you should. I just said to you, the thing that I've done in this prep is you know, just prep and like compete whenever you're ready, you know. Like I literally registered for this show about less than a week ago, because that's where I found that I was going to be ready for the time frame that I wanted to. But you know, a month ago I didn't have a clue what show I was doing, to be honest with you. I didn't really care, to be honest. So I think having a rough estimate of when you want to compete, because that was my thing. I was like, okay, I've got so many girls competing next year around September time. I don't really want to be competing around that time. Yeah, I understand that.
Because I do want to reverse. At the same time, I think it's complete, because you're competing now. We've gone to client shows. It's not that it's not doable, and we'll always put our clients first. That's a non-negotiable for us.
Yeah.
But what I want is just for me to also enjoy that day because I'm the type of person, I always put people in front of me.
Sure.
And I don't want to put my body in a state where I sort of like, you know, dig myself into the ground, get very, very lean, only for it not to be like my perfect peak, if that makes sense. Because obviously work will always come first, because you know, I'm not paid to do bodybuilding. I'm paid to coach. So so that's why I'm thinking about time frames of like, okay, do I compete like, you know, May time, June time, just rough estimates, and then from there I'll diet for as long as I need to. I'm already in a better spot body composition wise. I've pulled off 11 kilos. 11? Yeah, 11 kilos in total. So I'm not expecting myself to jump back up definitely to that weight. I think around 2 or 3 kilos maximum increase over the next 5-6 months of growing, and then from there I'm just going to diet, and hopefully I'm probably like around, we're trying to guess this, but it's so hard to say.
Yeah, it's so hard to I wouldn't even bother like predicting where you'll be.
I want to know exactly what I'm going to look like, exactly my stage weight, exactly when I'm going to compete. But George is like, just you know, chill out. And he's so right. He is so right, because when I chill out, my body responds.
Yeah.
But I'm such like a I need to know everything type of person.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like my stage weight in 2019 and 2022 was the exact same.
But you look so much better.
I look so much better. So who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter. Although I was like, fucking hell, I've gained, like I did that DEXA scan, gained 0.8 of a kilo, 0.6 of a kilo. Or a pound.
You say this now, but I remember you calling me. You're like, fucking fuming.
I nearly cried. I was 2 days out.
I don't know why you did it.
2-3 days out.
Please don't tell me you booked in for a DEXA scan.
No, I was going to though.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to, but I didn't because I couldn't find the dates for it. But I was going to book you in for one as well. I was 2 days. I was 2 days out, and I sat there, and I was in the middle of London, and I had my head down, I had my hands in my head like this. I was like, hands in my head in my hands. Fucking hell. I was sitting here like this. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. But now looking back on that, who gives a fuck if it was 0.6 of a kilo? Because I look much better. Even the guy that did the scan was like mugging me off.
Massive.
I look alright, you know.
Is that what you were gonna say? I look massive.
I don't even know what I was gonna say.
I look fucking jacked.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about weight. I think you sometimes get fixated on the wrong things. Just get there first, and then deal with whatever that may be.
ADHD brain for you.
Yeah, God, it's a nightmare, guys. Don't date someone who's got ADHD. I tell you, fucking kick you. I tell you. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Ryan. Shout out Ryan. He probably listens to this. He competed that weekend, the same at Anya as well. He came third in a very good class of 10. Novice.
It was actually 21 competitors in total. They had to split them up.
Yeah, between A and B, and I think it was basically shorter versus taller. So third in the tall class, up against some big boys. I mean, very, very happy with that. The look was improved. It was sharper. I think it was about 2.5 kilos sharper in the space of like 2 weeks, which was good. So massive improvements, and he's obviously now 2.5 weeks out from the WMBF Supernaturals, and at the moment we are going into a bit of a digging phase, and I'm probably going to run the same approach that you ran with Anya. At this point, fat load. At this point, Ryan's been dieting for 37 weeks, so the reality is he's dropped like fucking 25 kilos of scale weight. So what we need to take into consideration is that, you know, I could keep pushing him, but at the same time it's like, right, okay, you're just going to keep fading away eventually at some point, and you're going to look back at your pics going, fucking hell, I actually look better there, even though I'm a leaner and lighter now. I look better and less stringier. I had the same issue in 2019, just kept going, and then the look was just completely gone, and I regret pushing myself that far. So what I'm trying to tell Ryan, which is very hard to tell someone who wants to get leaner, I'm telling him, like, look, you know, you've done so well in your first season already. You know, a lot of the improvements you need to make aren't going to happen now because it's simply a case of needing more muscle. We can redefine the look, but to be honest with you, there's a level of, you're still a junior, so realistically the muscle maturity is only going to come with more time. There's going to be some conditioning that you can get, but at the same time, is it worth just getting maybe 1 or 2% of your glutes in, but losing out maybe on your lats or your arms or your chest, and suffering that just to get the glutes in, when really they don't care about your glutes being leaner? They probably rather the fullness in certain other areas. So, you know, you have to sort of weigh up those pros and cons. And, you know, what I'm trying to tell him is like, look, don't get carried away of wanting to get fucking more leaner than what you are after the transformation that you've done. Okay, this has been a good season. You're going to make so much, if you finish, for example, where you are right now, you're going to make so much more progress post diet than if you kept digging and losing muscle. Well, if you lose muscle, it's going to take some time to regain. You know, I remember being on in 2019 again. I remember posting transformations of my post show, and 6 months later, and people are like, "Oh my god, amazing progress!" And I was sitting there going, "Well, it's only the fucking progress that the muscle that I've regained that I lost in that prep. You know, it wasn't actually progress. So over the grand scheme of time, I didn't make any progress. I just rebuilt that muscle.
Yeah.
What I want Ryan to do is go, right, okay, we'll leave it there. He can then take steps forward. He's not going backwards at all. He's just taking steps forward. So yeah, it's very difficult. It's balance.
As a natural athlete especially, and this is where I think a lot of shit coaching out there is seen, where people treat natural athletes as if they're assisted.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen this month with actually someone that's come to us from a previous coach.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, it's such a fine line where you can really fuck someone's health up very long term if you don't do things properly. And I think the whole like trust what your coach says to an extent is really, really important, because not every coach out there is going to have the best interests at heart either.
Yep.
But what I'm trying to say is, like, being a natural athlete, yes, the same principles apply in terms of you need to be in a deficit, you need to get shredded, you need to have fullness when you're at the show, you need to have good presentation, etc. But how you go about things is going to be completely different, and what you should prioritize is going to be completely different as well. Yeah. Putting
someone on 15 grams of fat, 1,000 calories or 900 calories, criminal behavior. Criminal. But I can go on that. But
we won't.
Yeah, it's we've had a good couple of weeks. Busy though, a lot going on, a lot of traveling up and down the country here and there. But I think fucking hell, I'm knackered from doing it, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I actually had a moment of reflection. I was so tired, and I think again this is why I've lost my cycle as well, because I have been so stressed and tired and overworked. But I sit here and I just think, like, this is the life that I have always dreamt of, like feeling so fulfilled, feeling so excited to wake up and go to these shows and see all of the girls that I'm coaching, like, just be fulfilled and meet amazing like-minded people as well. Like, this is what I've wanted. And like, I think about me feeling this sort of way but do my junior doctor job, and the reward is just so different. So yeah, we're very, very grateful, and we just wanted to do this little update, this little podcast to kind of tell you guys where we're at the moment. And then the next podcast that we record moving forwards is going to be based off the topic. So if you guys have any suggestions of what you want us to cover, whether it's a specific topic, I know I've had suggestions surrounding mindset, dealing with an injury or illness. I will definitely get that covered. Female PEDs is something that I definitely want to do in a video, because I don't think it's spoken about enough, or if it is, it's probably not the right people that are giving the information.
Definitely not.
There's literally like a handful of people that I would trust with those sort of things. There's plenty of things that we do want to cover, but if you guys have anything specific, then drop it in the comments on the YouTube, or drop us a DM.
And it doesn't just need to be bodybuilding related.
No,
either.
not at all.
It can be mindset, it can be life, it can be what we've learned, or happiness, relationship. It can be literally anything. I'm more than happy to talk about anything when it comes down to all of that sort of good jazz. But
what's off topic for you?
Huh?
What's one thing that you wouldn't speak about?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing I wouldn't speak about.
Nothing. I'm pretty open when it comes to talking about whatever.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't speak about things that I don't know, have education around. If it was sciencey, that's probably the only thing that I would not talk about. Because I just don't want to come out and pretend that I'm someone that I'm not, and coming out with bullshit that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing. That's the only thing. But when it comes to like talking about honestly,
I wouldn't talk about football.
Then football. It's football, crazy football. Anyway, sorry. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. We really appreciate you. Thank you for the patience. Be on the lookout for some future podcasts each week. Every Thursday around midday, they will upload. Follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on YouTube.
I was going to say what your Instagram is.
Oh. dr.wiks, Dr. Wicks.
And mine is George Osborne 12.
Without a U.
Yeah, without a U. OSBONE. And coaching links down below if you're interested in working with both of us. Then obviously submit an application, either lifestyle, competition prep, all down below. And obviously support the brands when it comes to our sponsors. So Supplement Needs, code BORNE to get all your health subs, all the best premium quality products you can get there. And then for any gym accessories, the best gym accessories, make sure you head over to 1MR and use code BORNE10. All those links as well will be in the description. As always, guys.
And also, we do have a very special announcement coming out. Either next podcast or the podcast after.
Yes. So we'll leave you with that. All right, guys. Appreciate you listening, and I will see you in the next one.